Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe if you love stories that twist your mind and leave you questioning everything you thought you knew. Now, let's step inside the room no one could escape. The call came in at 5:42 a.m., just as a pale blue dawn crawled over the skyline of Ridgewater, Massachusetts. Detective Elena Ward, running on 2 hours of sleep and 3 cups of stale station coffee, arrived at the Cobalt Inn, a boutique hotel known for its quiet charm and heavily secured guest rooms. But that morning, it wasn't quiet. Police cars lined the street. Guests huddled in robes and slippers. And a thick unease pulled at the air. Room 407 was sealed. From the outside, the electronic deadbolt was still locked. No forced entry. No signs of tampering. A perfect digital lock, one that logged every entry and exit. And according to those logs, no one had entered that room since 9:13 p.m. the night before. Yet inside the room, a man lay motionless on the floor. The victim was Dr. Adrian Locke, a respected behavioral psychologist known for consulting on high-profile criminal cases across the country. He'd checked in alone. Hotel staff said he kept to himself. But what immediately caught Elena's eye wasn't the fact that he was dead, it was how the room appeared untouched. No struggle. No mess. No chaos. Just stillness. It was the kind of stillness that made her skin tighten. Forensics moved carefully. The body had no visible injuries. No signs of a break-in. No toxic fumes. Nothing obvious. A sealed room with a man who couldn't have died under normal circumstances. Heart attack, a uniformed officer whispered. Maybe, Elena said. But it feels too arranged. The air smelled faintly of something synthetic, but subtle enough that Elena wasn't sure if she imagined it. She scanned the room, the window locked from the inside, the small balcony 3 stories up with no access from below, and the bathroom door slightly ajar, light buzzing weakly overhead. She noticed one more thing. A travel notebook on the desk. Open. One line scribbled across the page in rushed handwriting. If anything happens to me, it wasn't an accident. Elena's breath caught. Get this bagged, she said. Her partner, Detective Marcus Hale, arrived moments later. Tall, sharp-eyed, and unnervingly calm, he surveyed the room with a quiet intensity. So we have a dead man in a sealed room and a message that screams trouble, Marcus said. Morning just keeps getting better. Elena didn't smile. Something's off. The medical examiner confirmed there were no immediate signs of trauma. Nothing suggested a struggle or self-harm. Nothing was stolen. Even the victim's wallet and laptop were untouched on the table, the device still open to an email draft that read, Subject, urgent, they found me. The email had no body text, just the blinking cursor as if Locke had been interrupted mid-thought. Elena and Marcus exchanged looks. He thought he was in danger, Marcus said. Or knew he was, Elena murmured. The investigation widened quickly. Staff interviews, guest lists, surveillance footage, digital keylogs. Everything pointed to the same impossible truth. No one entered or left room 407 from the moment Dr. Locke locked it at 9:13 p.m. But the deeper they looked, the stranger the details became. Footage from the hallway cameras showed Dr. Locke pacing outside his room around 9 p.m., anxiously checking over his shoulder as if expecting someone. Then he entered the room, and that was it. He never came out. Elena replayed the clip several times. His hands trembled. He kept glancing at the elevator. Whatever he was afraid of, real or imagined, was getting closer in his mind. But the camera also captured something bizarre. At 9:14 p.m., exactly 1 minute after Locke entered the room, the hallway lights flickered. Just once. A brief stutter. Hotel staff confirmed a similar flicker happened in several rooms at the same time, nothing unusual for the aging wiring. But at 9:14, the camera view glitched, not fully, just enough to distort the timestamp for 2 seconds before correcting itself. Could someone exploit that? Marcus asked. Elena shook her head. Maybe if they had access to the building's internal system. But even then, the digital lock shows no entry. No entry doesn't mean no one got in, Marcus said. A chill rippled through Elena. She refused to believe in perfect crimes. But this was beginning to look like one. The guest list revealed another surprise. Someone else had been staying on the same floor, room 409, just 2 doors down. A man who checked in under the name Samuel Reed, paid in cash, no ID, stayed only one night, and checked out at 5:20 a.m., minutes before the body was found. The hotel clerk admitted Reed traveled light, avoided staff, and wore a dark baseball cap pulled low over his eyes the entire time. But the strangest detail? Room 409 had no luggage. No personal items. No trash. Nothing. As if the guest never stayed there at all. "Let's pull the footage," Elena ordered. They reviewed the hallway cameras again. At 5:20 a.m., Reed walked out with the same cap, the same clothes, but something was different. The detectives paused the frame. His left sleeve was damp. Just the sleeve. Just a single patch. And he kept his arm stiffly at his side, as if afraid to move it. "Get an APB out on him," Elena said, her voice tightening. But before they could chase their new lead, a forensics tech rushed from room 407. "Detectives," she said, pale and breathless, "you need to see this. It's in the bathroom. And it changes everything." Elena and Marcus hurried toward the open door, toward the place no one had checked yet. When they stepped inside, Elena froze. Because there, inside the locked bathroom cabinet, was something that should never have been in a sealed room. Something that made the impossible suddenly feel terrifyingly real. And it confirmed one thing: Dr. Adrian Locke didn't die alone. Inside the bathroom cabinet, tucked behind a stack of hotel towels, lay a small metallic canister no bigger than a flashlight. No branding. No serial number. But the moment Elena saw it, she understood why the room felt subtly wrong. The faint synthetic smell. The lack of struggle. The victim's collapsed posture near the floor. "Is that what I think it is?" Marcus asked quietly. The forensics tech nodded. "Preliminary guess. A dispersal device. Something designed to release a gas or aerosol." Elena's pulse quickened. "So someone planted it. Inside a locked room. But there's no residue," the tech added. "No trace of any chemical agent yet. We'll know more after testing. For now, all we know is, someone wanted him incapacitated without leaving evidence." Elena stared at the canister, anger settling cold in her stomach. Someone went through a lot of trouble to make this look natural. And to make sure they never had to step foot inside, Marcus said. Suddenly, the locked room wasn't a mystery. It was a message. A carefully staged warning. Dr. Adrian Locke wasn't running from paranoia. He was running from someone who already knew exactly how to get to him. The detectives left room 407 and set up a temporary base in the hotel's conference suite. Pages of evidence lined the walls: Dr. Locke's note, the email draft, the footage, the mysterious guest from room 409. But the more Elena studied them, the more the story splintered. What was Locke working on? She asked. Marcus had already pulled Locke's consultancy history. He advised on criminal profiling, hostage negotiations, and cold cases. Mostly government contracts. High-level stuff. Anyone he angered? Elena pressed. Half the people in federal crime, Marcus said dryly. But look at this, he had a standing appointment with a private research lab in Boston. Last visited them 3 days ago. A research lab? Elena asked. What kind? Marcus hesitated. Behavioral tech. Human response patterns. Biometrics. Some of their work overlaps with law enforcement. Training simulations. Predictive behavior mapping. Elena frowned. Predictive, like patterns of aggression? Threat detection? Yeah, Marcus nodded. Solid science but also sensitive. She paced the room. If Locke worked with data that could identify or clear suspects, expose internal corruption, or provide insight on criminal networks, someone might see him as a threat. Pull everything on that lab, Elena said. And let's find out why he wrote that message in the notebook. Before Marcus could respond, a soft chime echoed from the evidence table. Locke's laptop, still open, was receiving an incoming message through an encrypted inbox. It displayed a countdown timer, ending with a single line. You should have left this alone. Elena stiffened. Trace it. Marcus was already working. The IP bounced through multiple countries, Germany, Switzerland, then back through a VPN in the States. When the trace stabilized, it landed on a dead end. A public library computer in Chicago. Completely anonymous. They knew we'd access his files, Marcus said. They're watching us. Before Elena could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number. She let it ring twice, then answered. Detective Ward. A voice, low, distorted, heavily modulated, whispered, "You're already too close." Elena stepped aside, heart thudding. "Who is this?" Silence. Then the voice added, "Stop looking for him. He's not your threat. The one you should fear is already inside your circle." The line went dead. Elena stared at her phone, unable to breathe for a moment. "He said the threat is inside our circle." Marcus paused. "Meaning what?" "The department. The task force. The hotel staff." "I don't know," Elena whispered. "But whoever this is, they're confident." The two detectives doubled down on the mysterious guest, Samuel Reed. His face was grainy on the hallway footage, cap pulled low. Techs ran facial recognition with little success. But one detail stood out to Elena, the wet sleeve. Why only one sleeve? Why stiff and unnatural? Back in the hallway camera footage, Elena played it again, slower. Reed moved with a slight limp. His left arm didn't swing naturally. He was concealing something or protecting something. "Pause," Elena said. She zoomed into the image. Reed's left wrist area bulged slightly under the fabric. As if something was strapped there. "What if he wasn't hiding evidence?" she said slowly. "What if he was hiding an injury? An injury from placing the canister. An injury caused by exposure. Maybe the dispersal agent wasn't as clean as planned," Marcus said. "Maybe it backfired. If he's injured, we can track him," Elena said. "Hospitals. Urgent care. Clinics." But before they could run the search, another officer burst into the conference suite. "Detectives. You need to see this. It's from the hotel's basement storage." He handed Elena a small plastic bag containing a hotel keycard scorched at the edges, half melted. "This was found behind a shelf," the officer said. "Room 407's backup card." Elena felt a chill. Backup cards aren't supposed to leave the front desk. "They don't," the officer said. "Unless someone takes one." "Who had access?" Marcus asked. The officer swallowed. "Only 3 people on staff, including the night manager." "Elena," Marcus said quietly. "The night manager was on duty when Locke checked in." They rushed toward the security office, but the manager's station was empty. The chair dragged back. Papers scattered. And the monitor, still open to the security feed, paused on the moment Reed left the building. Under the monitor sat a handwritten note. Elena lifted it carefully. For words written in hurried strokes. "I didn't want this." Marcus looked at her. "Where is he now?" Elena turned toward the stairwell, instincts tightening. "He's running." But running from who? Or, from what he'd done? Before they could piece it together, an explosion of noise erupted downstairs, shouting, a crash, then someone screaming for help. Elena and Marcus sprinted toward the chaos. Because whatever happened next, it wasn't part of the original plan. And the threat they were warned about had just surfaced. The shouting echoed through the hotel lobby as Elena and Marcus charged down the staircase. Guests scattered, staff screamed, and 2 officers wrestled with a man near the front entrance. His clothes were torn. His face pale and drenched with sweat. And his left arm, wrapped in a makeshift bandage, hung limp at his side. "The night manager. Get him up," Elena ordered. The man looked up with terrified, bloodshot eyes. I didn't do anything. I swear. I tried to warn you." "Warn us about what?" Marcus demanded. "The man from room 409, the manager gasped. He forced me." Elena crouched, her voice steady. "Start talking." "He came in late," the manager stuttered. "Said he lost his ID. Paid in cash. I didn't think much of it, but he knew things. He knew I was behind on my bills. He knew my wife was sick. He said if I didn't help him, he'd ruin my life." "What did he want?" Elena asked. The manager swallowed hard. Access to room 407. He told me to pull the backup keycard from the drawer and leave it in the basement storage. He said no one could know. And the canister? Elena pressed. I didn't know what it was, he whispered. He showed me a picture of Locke. He said the man upstairs was dangerous. Said he needed to send a message. I didn't want anyone hurt, I swear. I just. But he broke off, clutching his arm as pain streaked across his face. Call an ambulance, Marcus told the officers. The manager's breath grew shallow. The man from 409, he wasn't working alone. What do you mean? Elena asked urgently. He said, someone inside the investigation would cover for him if things went wrong. Elena and Marcus exchanged a sharp look. Someone inside. Just like the voice on the phone said. Who? Elena demanded. Who inside? The manager shook his head helplessly. I never saw him. Only heard him on a radio, distorted just like the call you got. Before Elena could say another word, his body tensed. His mouth opened in a silent gasp. Then he slumped unconscious. Paramedics rushed him out. Marcus exhaled sharply. We just lost our only lead. No, Elena said. He gave us something, someone on the inside. But who? Marcus asked. Elena stared at the evidence board, the note from Locke, the mysterious email, the flickering hallway lights, the hacked laptop, the false guest identity. Then something clicked. The glitch, Elena whispered. At 9:14 p.m. The hallway lights. The time distortion. What about it? Marcus asked. That glitch affected multiple floors, she said. Someone triggered it remotely. But only someone with high-level access could manipulate the hotel's electrical grid and the security system at the same time. Marcus frowned. A hotel tech? No, Elena said. Someone who knows how to manipulate infrastructure systems. Someone with clearance to access federal grid simulation tools. Someone who would have reason to follow Locke. Marcus blinked. You think this ties to the behavioral tech lab? Locke said, they found me. But maybe it wasn't criminals he feared. Maybe it was someone from inside the research programs. Someone who didn't want their work exposed. Elena pulled up Locke's last meeting logs from the lab. He'd met with 4 people, 2 researchers, 1 director, and 1 outside contractor assigned to network security. Elena froze as she read the name. Ethan Hale. Marcus's older brother. Marcus, she whispered. He went still. That's impossible. Ethan had access to every system at that lab, Elena said softly. Firewall controls. Simulation databases. Predictive algorithms. He fits every piece of this puzzle. Marcus shook his head. Ethan would never. He had motive, Elena cut in gently. If Locke discovered something. If he threatened to expose something. Ethan might think he'd lose everything. Marcus stared at the ground, jaw tight. This isn't real. There was a long, painful silence. Then Marcus stepped aside and said quietly, if Ethan's involved, we find him. I'm with you. Before Elena could respond, the security officer rushed in. Detectives. We found something on the roof security feed. They followed him to the monitors. The screen showed the roof access door, normally unused. At 5:28 a.m., 8 minutes after Reed left the building, someone else emerged. A man in dark clothing. Hood up. Carrying a duffel bag. He moved swiftly across the roof, reached the far corner, and disappeared down the fire escape. The camera froze as Elena zoomed in on his face. A partial profile came into view. Sharp jawline. Light beard. Determined expression. Marcus's breath hitched. Elena, that's Ethan. The room fell silent. He was there, Elena said. At the hotel. That means this was never just about Locke. It was about controlling the narrative. Marcus closed his eyes. Then Reed wasn't the mastermind. He was working for Ethan. And Ethan, Elena said, has a head start. They alerted the local task force, issued a bolo, and locked down the city perimeter. But as the hours passed, one truth became clear. Ethan Hale had planned this too well. By noon, a final email came through Locke's inbox. No sender. No trace. Just one line. Some doors are meant to stay locked. Marcus read it twice, then turned away, grief and anger warring in his expression. Elena rested a hand on his shoulder. We'll find him. Marcus nodded, though his eyes were distant. He knows every trick I know. Maybe more. Elena looked at the evidence board, the impossible room, the concealed device, the mysterious guest, the inside betrayal. The case was technically closed, but nothing was resolved. Because the man responsible for a crime that defied logic was still out there. And he wasn't finished. 3 months later, in a quiet neighborhood outside Baltimore, police received a report of a sealed storage unit found open despite a perfectly intact lock. Inside, they discovered a single metal canister, identical to the one used in room 407. And beside it, a small handwritten note. You're still not looking in the right place. Elena stared at the message, chills crawling up her spine. The locked room mystery wasn't over. It was only the beginning.